Hey, welcome to Chisholm Prism. My name is Taylor Chisholm, and today in this video, I am in a dire situation where I have to be in a wedding in a week from now, and the dress that I have ordered online, surprise, surprise, is in need of some help. I'm gonna take you with me and show you this journey of how I got from this to this. Just go through that process with you, and we're gonna get this dress into shape. So let's get into this. So it all starts with reality versus expectations, right? And my vision was seeing like the Met Gala. I was inspired by the theme of the garden and seeing all these iconic, beautiful people. Of course, you got Rihanna, Nicki Minaj, like just really stunning with a lot of 3D elements of flowers, extrusions. It just was very elaborate and beautiful to me, and I wanted to incorporate this in this dress. But something that I came across multiple times in my research was the iconic Taylor Swift. I'm not a Swiftie per se, but I adored this look that she had at the Grammys in 2021. But looking around, this dress was like $10,000. I'm not paying that much money for a dress. And when I like image searched, this image was really popular. It came up, and a lot of these dresses were still ranging pretty high, like close to $200 or $100 for a dress. But you see, on this channel, I'm all about getting a deal. And I thought I can find the original of this dress. To be honest, all of the high named brands who are selling a dress like this are using the same images, and they're going to these wholesale places like AliExpress is where I found this dress, and they're buying it on here and then selling it to you for like twice, 3 times as much as they're paying for it. And I'm just like, I'm gonna buy it from the original wholesalers and make the tweaks that are needed. As you can see, it's not exactly like those photos, and it looks very different from the Taylor Swift dress. And you see me trying it on. I will say I'm a curvy girl, okay? And this dress is actually an extra large, but I think the sizings that they put on these sites don't account for someone with a butt, someone with boobage. Like, it was not fitting in the way that I wanted it to. And I'll tell you that lace, I'm a brown girl too. Like, I can't have this white lace. There is so many issues, but I did get it for under $30. So I think that's a good start. It's a good start, but it needed work. So there's a couple things I knew I needed. One being I needed more fabric. I found the exact fabric that's used in the dress previously, which they did skimp out on some of the flowers in the dress they sent me, but I got extra fabric. I needed to make alterations to the dress and make it fit my body more. Number 2, I needed a bodice. I needed something that framed my body more, and I found this dress on AliExpress, and it had the open back, which was great and would fit the shape that I currently have on the dress. And I know what you guys are thinking. It's white, and I'm going to a wedding. Trust me, hold on, I'm about to fix it. You see, I have some stuff to the right. We're gonna fix it so it's not white. All this other stuff, I ended up only using 2 of the dyes, so I returned one, and I didn't use the glue. But the other stuff I had at my house already, so that wasn't an extra cost. I didn't record this part, but I took out that base that they had with that ugly fabric. It wasn't working for me, and I used this dress instead. And you'll see me, so I have it on. You see it's more like form-fitting. It just makes the dress fit to my body a little bit more, which is fantastic for a dress like this because there's no stretch in this fabric at all. And here, this is when I was like, okay, I can work with this. It's starting to look pretty good. And like I said, you know I can't be going to this wedding in white, so I needed to dye this underdress. So I got this tan dye. I also had a brown dye that I ended up using a lot more of too. And I'm just mixing. So I'm just following what the label says, and it says like detergent and salt. So I'm just kind of winging it, putting that in there, and then half of the bottle of the tan and about half to full of the bottle of the brown. And then I go in with that dress, and I just, I'm dipping it in. That water is hot, so I'm definitely wearing gloves. And I let this sit in there for about 30 minutes.
10 hours later.
I also didn't film it, but I dunked the lace fabric in there too, just to tan that lace a little bit more so it's not pure white. It really didn't take too much with the dye. I think the fabric itself just doesn't really like to consume dye. It didn't come out as deep of a brown that I was hoping for, but it didn't turn out too bad. It actually matches the dress a lot because it has a similar pink to some of the flowers. I didn't mind it too much. As long as it wasn't pure white, I was good. On to the most time-consuming and tedious part of this whole project, the hand sewing. I do not have a sewing machine, so I had to do this by hand. And I am not a pro here, so there's more videos on YouTube that are so much better than I at explaining and teaching you properly how to sew. But actually, this fabric's pretty forgiving, so all the mistakes that I made were covered by the flowers. For the sleeves that I wanted to add, I wanted it to be more flowy, so I did just cut a triangle and just kind of guesstimate how long it needed to be or wide I wanted it to be. And then I opened up the seam of where the sleeves were, and I just kind of sewed along each side, like adding more fabric in the middle, if that makes sense, making like a tube of the sleeve just a little bit wider, as you can see here. So it just made it a little bit more flowy, and especially with the seams, I covered it up with more flowers. So that was just the test fabric that I was using, and then once I was satisfied with how it was looking, I laid it on the real fabric, cut it out, and hand sewed it all together. This took hours. This took a lot of time for me. The string that I had kept bunching up and it was causing issues, and I don't know, just put on a podcast.
10 hours later.
Later that day, I was able to try it on, and I was very happy with the results. It actually didn't fail. It turned out pretty good. So I was pretty excited, and you can see the seam there. But of course, I put on more flowers to cover it. Next, I had to cover that butt. I have thighs, I have a butt, and this dress did not accommodate for that, especially with dyeing it. It shrunk a little bit. So I decided to extend it about 6 inches. You can see me here. So just extending it down. I had extra fabric. That yard of fabric came in handy. I used every inch of that fabric. So I took the bottom of it because it had the most amount of flowers, and I wanted it to be fuller at the bottom and get gradually lighter at the top. So I again cut it out 6 inches across, and I hand sewed that all the way around the bottom, and that helped extend the dress and make it fit a little bit better and not be so much of a mini dress so people can see my hoo-ha. So that helped out a ton. And I wanted it to be a little bit more clean, so I did cut off all the extra lace and making the edge a nice lining of just the flowers, so that looked really clean too. So you can see my butt's fitting in the dress. I look real cute. I was feeling very happy with how it was coming out. Then quickly, I just trimmed the neck because whoever made this dress, it was choking. I just made a U so it actually hangs properly on my neck and it's not killing me. Lastly, I added a lot more of the flowers. So I had fabric left over, and I cut out all the flowers that were on that fabric that I could, and then I just went to the dress and glued it down. Like I said, I wanted it to be a gradient, so starting from the bottom, working my way up top, creating more of that ombre of the flowers, was a really nice touch. And at this point, I've been sewing for days. This is the last day, and I was tired of sewing, so I just hot glued this stuff on the dress. Make sure if you hot glue anything like this, like I put a piece of paper underneath it so it wasn't sticking to the other side, of course, because that fabric was transparent. But I loved how it turned out. Like, it just added a little more zhuzh, looks more full, more nice. I covered up the seams and all of my mistakes, so this is actually very forgiving. This was very forgiving of a fabric to use. And I added a little more pizzazz. I had these like butterflies laying around from a previous project years ago, and I was like, why not add butterflies to the flowers? It's a garden party, this wedding, so I thought it was fitting. Okay guys, so I am insane. It took me way too long, and I waited up to the very last minute to finish this dress. It is the day before the wedding, and I finally got all the alterations done. So I'm ready to go. I just have to get ready in the morning, and we're gonna drive to the wedding, and I'll be doing my makeup in the car, but then I'll show you the full look together in the location day of. So let's do it.